How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Think like
Get
an
it.
attacker.
My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts.
This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. And tonight, I got started a little late. I got home from Newsmax a little late, and I decided to tweet something out when I came home and I saw Nate Boyer on TV on Fox News, and I tweeted out the reality of Colin Kaepernick and who he is. I gotta say, starting off right off the bat, I got a response from Nate. I respect Nate. I respect his service. I respect who he is, the man that he is. I think that in this case, he wasn't completely informed as to who Black Lives Matter really is, who the founders are, and who Colin Kaepernick really is, and what's actually happening in this country. And listen, that's no hit on Nate. I would have to say that the majority of people that are in government in this United States government, including the DOD, including the DOJ, including the FBI, the DEA, everybody else in government, they have no clue that we're being subverted. None. Let's go ahead and start the show, and we'll talk more about this. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. Anybody wants to donate a new office chair? I need one drastically. This thing is killing me. Oh my gosh, it's supposed to be a chair that is specifically designed for, I don't know, for sitting for long periods of time. This has to be the most disgustingly designed. It's like a torture chamber more than anything. All right, getting back to what we were talking about a second ago. I think what Nate did by writing an open letter to Colin Kaepernick, telling him instead of sitting on the bench, taking a knee, at least you're out there doing something, action in front of the national anthem. I understand what he was trying to do, and I think what he was trying to do is honorable. But I think and I'm assuming that Nate doesn't know the reality of the three members that started Black Lives Matter, three Marxist lesbians. Again, this show doesn't I don't talk about people's sexuality, gender, color, their skin, ridiculous stuff like that. That means nothing about who a person is. It says nothing about the reality of the quality of workmanship or ethics or morals that a person has. None of those things do. However, when you look at the different groups, and I know people that usually tune into this show are going to understand what I'm talking about, but when you look at the different groups, the gay movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, you could look at any of the different feminism. You can look at all these different groups, and the reality is they do nothing to further equality. They do nothing to further empowerment of people, especially the people that they say that they are behind. Black Lives Matter does nothing for the inner city. Nothing. What it does is makes things worse. They are the fuel. The fuel pours. They pour fuel on every situation that occurs within the inner city where cops are shooting individuals that are committing crime, whether they have light skin or dark skin. The statistics show that by and large, people are getting shot because they're doing bad crime, not because of the color of their skin. But see, they want you to focus on the color of their skin, and they want to solely concentrate on that. When if you look at the reality of the majority of shootings in the inner city, those things are they occur because the people are in furtherance of a crime, of a violent felony. Maybe they don't have a gun, but they're running from cops after they've committed a violent felony. They get in a car, they try to run the police over with a car. Black Lives Matter, they don't care. They're going to talk about any type of involvement with the cops and someone in the inner city that has dark skin as though the law enforcement officer went out to assassinate people with dark skin. That is the reality of who these people are, and why you ask, do they do this? Are they doing this so that they can put the pressure on law enforcement? No. Do they do this because they are trying to put the pressure on the communities to be more accepting and to clean up and to have less children out of wedlock and to get rid of gangs and so that they'll step up to the plate? No, they're not doing that either. Why they do this is an old subversive tactic where they go in first. And look, if you think, and I know I'm going to get some Twitter stuff on here, I'm monitoring my Twitter very closely while I do this. If you think that what I'm saying is nonsense, if you think what I'm saying is stupid, or somebody just wrote me a second ago and asked me if I'd ever been discriminated against because of the color of my skin. I said, yeah, absolutely. It's called affirmative action. That's legal discrimination. There's no thing in the color of my skin versus somebody else's that says they're going to be better at a job or I'm going to be better at a job. It comes down to your talent, your skills, and the talent that you're born with that you develop and the skills that you develop by hard work. That is not what affirmative action promotes, and that is not what affirmative action, the type of people that affirmative action promotes. What it does is it goes out and solely says there are not enough people in this environment with dark skin. Now, it doesn't go out and try to find people who are fully qualified. It says you have a quota. This is what you will fill. It's legal racial divide. That's what it is. It's a legal way to divide people by the color of their skin. If America was smart, we would say no. No, if you want the job, apply for it and compete like everybody else. And then we hold the employers to the standard of making sure that they measure everybody equally. And that's where real equality is, not equality from amongst each other. Everybody's going to be different or more talented in one way or another, but so that they can measure that we're giving everybody the opportunity, the same opportunity to rise to the occasion. Now, so yes, I do believe that I've been discriminated against the color of my skin. I think it happened when I went to Lisa Evers' show and had to sit with Tamika Mallory, which I'm going to do some investigating. I heard she got kicked off an airplane. I can't imagine it was because of her big mouth, most likely. And so these people turned on me, calling me a racist, a white supremacist. I didn't even have 2 words out of my mouth. Saying that people with dark skin cannot be racist. Well, there's just nothing more stupid than that, than saying that. Anybody can be racist because it comes from within your heart. But I'm going all over the place with this. There's a reality. The reason that they do this, that the Tamika Mallorys exist, the reason why Tamika Mallory is not nice and pleasant and saying, like Martin Luther King, let's march together, let's go into the inner city, let's clean it up, stand with me, let's make sure that everybody is equally empowered and can be the best that they can be. That's not what they do. Tamika Mallory is a mean, nasty person, along with Linda Sarsour, her jihadist buddy, and all the rest of these people. They do the things that they do not to further equal rights. There's no such thing as equal rights. You have rights. You have rights. And there are people that in government, there are people in the public and private industries that, especially the normal citizen, you are never going to be able to tell that person how to believe. You can tell them legally, you must follow these standards. That's where the equalness comes out of. But everybody is born with inalienable rights. You're born with the rights that God granted to you. Now, whether or not you use those rights are exactly where the equality actually comes in, because you have the ability to be the best that you can be in this country, not in other countries, in this country. And your ability to be the best that you can be is dependent on those rights to give you the opportunity to rise to the occasion. Equal rights are for you. They're for you to excel. And the law that protects those rights and protects you is there to make sure that other people are not violating those rights, but they're not there to make people believe that you should be a certain way. Again, I'm going all over the place with this, because here's what it comes back to. These people, they're not concerned with any of that. They use that as a platform. They use that as a platform to cause dissension, to cause people to fight, to get people with dark skin riled up, and to use it so that they can put police officers down. Because here's the bottom line. Black Lives Matter, the gay movement, feminism, any of these other groups that say that they are standing up for a specific group of people, it is a lie. They are doing the complete opposite than uniting. They are dividing. They are using those specific groups so that they can divide the rest of the country. The gay movement is never going to solve any type of problems between gay people and the rest of the community. You know who's going to do that? We are. We are going to fix that. We are going to have to accept each other and work together and judge each other based on our morals and ethics. But the gay movement is only going to use that to divide the country more. The same thing with Black Lives Matter. They're not going to go in and clean up the inner city. You know who's going to do that? We are, together. People with dark skin, people with light skin, brown skin, yellow skin, whatever. We are going to have to stand together and march into the inner city, get rid of gangs, get rid of drugs, promote the churches so people have families and a place to go to, a real place, not a drug den, and then work with law enforcement to develop better tactics, techniques, and procedures, and to build community service and a community relationship. That's what's going to solve that, not Colin Kaepernick kneeling, because they don't want to solve it. They want to use the problem to divide the people. That's what it's all about. So when I said this today, and I'm going to play what I said on Newsmax in just a second, I tweeted this out also, notifying Nate Boyer that I don't think that he studied enough of what Colin Kaepernick is all about. And the reality is, Nate is a Special Forces veteran. Nate knows how to target. He knows how to look at enemies. He knows how to say, okay, if I was the enemy, then this is how I would subvert. This is how I would work. He especially knows that. But I think in this particular incident, he was doing the right thing, but didn't know the complete target package of the individual that he was trying to communicate with. And these subversive people, they operate overtly, not covertly. They operate overtly. They want you to pick a side. They want you to get in an argument. They want this to happen because they want to stop the downward motion of our country so that it falls flat on its face, and then they can pounce. That's the way subversive groups work. Let's play what I did today on Newsmax, and then we'll discuss this as well. And this is what I tweeted out.
That, you know, as a veteran and law enforcement, one thing that I think is going on here that people don't talk about enough, and I've mentioned on this show before and done research on this, is that I believe that there's communist subversion in this country. I believe Colin Kaepernick is a communist, and the group Black Lives Matter that he basically is supporting through this kneeling action, they are also, the founders of that are Marxists. And I think when the president stands up against this kneeling process, he's doing something, knowingly or unknowingly, I have a feeling that he knows that he's doing something about stopping the forward movement of this subversion, which other people are not, because they're saying that Black Lives Matter are doing this because the inner city and because of the rift between the cops and young black men in the inner city. There's no sign that Black Lives Matter has done anything to stop anything that's happening in the inner city. But here's one thing I think the president can do that he's not done yet. I'd love to get your opinions on this. Is he's in control of the military. I would like to see no more flyovers, no more active duty military members there, no color guards, no one, until the NFL gets this fixed. There's no reason we have to have them there. That is free publicity for the NFL, and I don't think they should get it as long as they're dishonoring the people that are there.
So here's something that I'm just going to say this once. I'm not even going to worry about it anymore. But listen, people, if you're on, you got to realize when you say stuff like SB out of Benny, I guess your name is, and you say something like, to say Trump knows he's fighting Marxist communists is dumber than the other blank you spit. So he's saying I spit stuff. Appreciate your, it turns around and says, appreciate your service. Trump is a effing moron. Okay, two things. All these people are calling Trump a moron. I don't think Trump would be as successful. I don't care if he got $1 million or $1 billion to start a company or companies. The man is not a moron. I mean, he's somebody who has mastered the art of branding himself. He's made a ton of money. He's failed and succeeded. That's really the way I measure somebody as successful. Not that they continue to have things happen, because once you get money, it's easier to build more and more businesses where at least some of them will be successful. But when somebody fails and then they come back and succeed again, that's the way I measure true ability, true knowledge and wisdom and understanding, not because somebody doesn't agree with what they have to say or because they use unconventional tactics. Look, Trump has mastered, you can love it or hate it, he's mastered the use of Twitter. He does diplomacy via Twitter better than most people have ever done diplomacy. He does, in 140 characters, he hands the press's asses to them and completely circumvents their web of lies and their echo chambers through 140 characters. Tell me who else has done that. I don't think a moron can do this. Look, here's one thing I've learned about people who are extremely successful is that they don't get that way from bending over backwards to what other people say. They don't get that way when they cower. You have to have a confident persona. Sometimes people have a little bit too much confidence. I was a SEAL in the Navy, an officer, right, for 5 years. Wasn't even that long of a time in the SEAL teams. But one thing I definitely know, when you work with the best of the best, you're going to face egos that you think Donald Trump has an ego. I've faced egos. But here's the thing. Hollywood has got a ton of egos. They don't back it up. SEALs and their egos, although I think a lot of them have egos that are far gone, and I think they need to take a step back, and I would be the first one to tell them. Not that they would care. But they step up to the plate and get the job done. President Trump, you think a moron is going to run a campaign for the amount of money that he did and succeed? I don't think so. Not against the war machine that Hillary Clinton had. Not against the war machine that the Republican establishment has, and he succeeded. So, listen, you want to put me down and talk about saying that I spit stuff, whatever curse words you want to use there, Benny, it's not going to affect me. I don't really care. But the whole point of me saying this is that you really look like an idiot when you say stuff like this, because you sound like trailer park trash. And I know I grew up in a trailer. So with what I just put out there about President Trump and the NFL, the military actually pays the NFL to have some of this stuff out there. I think that the military right now, while this is heated, should pull completely out of this. And the president has the ability to do this. I think that there should be no flyovers. And I love flyovers. I think it's one of the best things going to these professional events. I don't think there should be any more flyovers for any sporting event. I don't think that they should have color guards from the military. I don't think that they should have active duty members, wounded or not, standing out there, having brought into the fold with the teams on the sidelines, these things. Stop all of it. You should not be able to be at one of these events in uniform or representing yourself as an active duty member. They should stop it for a period of time until these companies say, okay, we're going to make policy where if you want to protest something, you do it on your own time. You don't do it on the national stage during the national anthem. You want to protest? Don't play. How about that? Go take a knee at home and say, I'm not playing today and getting my millions because I'm going to go march through the inner city and make sure it's cleaned up because I don't think we're spending enough time there. How about that? How about doing this, Colin Kaepernick and the rest of them? Don't take your pay for a year. Go on a hunger strike. Do something like Gandhi would do, and or like Martin Luther King would do. Go somewhere, put all your money and your valuables, and say, for a year I'm not going to take this, or I'm going to play, but I'm not taking any pay. I would respect you a lot more. But again, getting back to what I was saying before, we're dealing with subversive units here. We're not dealing with people who are protesting the inner city, so it's not really going to matter anyway. Here's the danger in all this. Nate Boyer, whether he realized it or not, is now being used as a punching bag by these subversive members. They're saying, and constantly going back, and I've had this several times, well, if Colin Kaepernick was a communist, why did Nate Boyer, who is a Special Forces veteran, he was the one who gave him the suggestion to take a knee? Well, I don't think, and Nate can explain this, but I don't think he knew the reality of what Colin Kaepernick was all about. And so he was trying to do the right thing, saying, look, I get it. You're trying to do something honorable. Why don't you take a knee and you'll be noticed, but you won't be insulting. I don't know. I'm not going to put words into Nate's mouth, just like I don't want people putting them into my mouth. Maybe he'll come on here sometime and we'll have him talk. That'd be great. But I'm not sure he knew what he was getting into with this. And now he's being used as a sounding board to justify the actions of a subversive group. Same thing with, I went off on Dale Jr. I still have a sweatshirt, Dale Jr. sweatshirt, even though he's gone now or he's retiring soon. I'm going to burn this sweatshirt, and I'm going to do it live on Facebook. But I don't, I'm going to hope that Dale Jr., even though I don't give two craps what he thinks anymore after reading the tweet that he did, I'm not sure if he realized what he is saying when he's backing these people. He's going to become a sounding board for these subversive groups. Again, if you think this is nonsense, go do your own homework. Go listen to Yuri Brezmenov. I bring him up all the time. Go look him up on YouTube. Watch what he has to say from the 1980s when he defected from the Soviet Union. And he was a propaganda specialist for the KGB. Go listen to what he has to say and how subversion works and the groups that will do it and how they will further their cause. And it is every single, it's not even a prediction. He made an educated, not prediction, analysis of what was coming because he saw it. Talk to my brother, my SEAL brother, Drago, which we've had on here before. I need to play his show again. Drago grew up in communist Poland, spent time in a communist prison in Poland because he was doing an underground thing like this with newspapers and printers and typewriters. Ask him. He'll tell you. He sees it all. It's all happened before. It's happening again. It's just happening here. And groups like Black Lives Matter and Colin Kaepernick and the rest of these groups, feminism, the gay movement, all this stuff. Remember, it has nothing to do. When I say the gay movement, I'm not saying that somebody who's gay shouldn't be treated equally. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they don't fall under the same rights given to, granted to all men by God and enforced by the laws of this country, that they shouldn't have those same rights equally. I'm not saying that at all. I have many gay friends. I have many friends that have dark skin. I have many friends that are women. I have many friends that are men, that are white, whatever. It has nothing to do with that. These are subversive groups. These are groups that want to utilize whatever section of the population that's different than the norm. They want to use that to cause conflict and to cause division. Do you think the LGBTQ, whatever group that they are, that they really care whether or not a transgender person can go to the bathroom in public in a men or women's room? They don't care. They're using that because they know it's going to spark fire in the rest of the country that is not that way. They know that. But that's why they do it. That's why they do it. They do it to cause the division within this country. So when I say the gay movement, I'm not talking about people who are gay. In fact, I didn't even know why we even, how do we define people by their sexuality? Can you tell me that? I mean, I don't define myself by my heterosexuality. I don't go around saying that I must be treated equal because I'm attracted to females and I'm a male. You see, that doesn't define who I am at all. I don't understand how we can define somebody or how somebody can want to be defined. You know how many people now say, I'm a proud black man? I had, man, his name just escaped me here. I'll think of it here in a minute. Former NFL player himself. Great guy. Burgess Owens. I had him on here. And I thought, anybody who wants to tell you the truth about communism, listen to Burgess Owens. But one thing Burgess did, and I'd love to talk to him about this, and I think he needs to be careful because he himself will become a sounding board, is constantly saying, young black men, young black men. If you don't want people judging you in a bad way because of the color of your skin, why do you point it out so that everybody judges or accepts you as young black men? The fact is, I know because I've seen an accident, a motorcycle accident, where a guy who had dark skin crashed, and my brother-in-law and my sister was there, and my nephew was just a baby. He's now a veteran and in college, and Matt getting his master's degree. He's crazy. But I saw this guy crash on a motorcycle. We blocked traffic, go up there. Half his body was white. Not because he was born that way, but because when he skid across the road, it tore the skin, the top layers of skin right off his arms and his shoulders and part of his face. You see, there are differences between different races. They've done studies and shown that people who you would qualify as African or black have more testosterone, for instance. 10 to 20% more testosterone than Caucasians. But it goes back to really where you're from, the legacy of where your ancestors are from. Has nothing to do with your culture. Has nothing to do with how you behave or everything that you see in this country and around the world. When people act a certain way or they define themselves by a color, they're talking about a culture. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Those are learned behaviors. There are physical characteristics that are different, but those physical characteristics don't cause you, and I know this, I'm not going to go into how I know this, but it's easy to figure it out. It does not cause you to act a certain way, to prefer a certain kind of music, to be pulled and drawn into a certain community. Unless you were raised in that community, the color of your skin has little to do with anything of your knowledge, your ability to learn, your ability to love, your ability to take care, serve, nothing. It's you, it's the brain, it's the heart. It's the air that goes in and out of your lungs. But getting back to this guy, when he fell, his skin was just torn off, the top layers of his skin. There was no difference between he and I if I'd scraped my skin off. None. So we're supposed to judge people. People are racist because of a thin layer of skin. Or that people want to be judged and they say, let's take care of the young black man. How about just taking care of people? How about let's just clean up this country? How about we just stop looking at this thin layer of substance that's right here and start looking at what's right here? And I'm telling you, Nate, my brother Nate, the Special Forces NFL player, and the rest of the people out there that, whether they're trying to do the right thing or kneeling with these people, if you looked past the top layer of what these liars say, you will see the reality of who they truly are. They are Marxist. They are communist. They are globalist. They are democratic socialist. It is all the same. It's one and the same. It has nothing to do with people being oppressed. It has to do with subversion. And if you think that that is crazy, well, let me just tell you, or let me ask you this. 2 weeks ago, if I would have told you, hey, which I'm a targeting expert. It's what I do. That's what I've been trained to do. Do threat assessments, determine where the attacker is going to come from. If 2 weeks ago I had said, in Vegas, I wouldn't go to that outdoor concert because law enforcement doesn't have their tactics up to date, because people aren't aware, and because you see those hotels there, nobody checks what luggage people are carrying in, and anyone can carry weapons up there and do an attack from that high angle. easily and not be caught for enough time to where they could kill a whole bunch of people. What do you think most people would have said? Oh, come on, man. You got to live a little. There's no way that's probably going to happen. The chances of that ever happen are slim to none. All right? It happened. And 58 people died. Now, I'm telling you this about communism. And a lot of people are saying, come on, man. People in the inner city are oppressed. Gays are oppressed. Women, there's a glass ceiling. Yada, yada, blah, 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 right? They're focused on that, which is what the subversives want. And then when you bring up the reality, they say, no, there's no way. That's not happening. It is happening. And there's a playbook. You can look at it. It's not like I'm making this stuff up. I'm not Alex Jones. I have a background. I have real world experience. I'm not some guy that's going to get up here and try to divide the country even more by playing propaganda man. That's not what I do. I'm telling you the truth. And the truth is there is a subversive front that is moving through this country at lightning pace. And when it gets to a point where there's nothing you can do, we are going to fall. Now, if I would have told you that stuff about Vegas 2-3 weeks ago, you would have said, come on now. We're going to go get drunk and have a good time. Nothing's going to happen. Now what would you say? Now are you going to go to a country music concert that's outdoors and surrounded by other stuff and say, I gotta be careful? Yeah, maybe. Had you heard me warning about this before, would you reflect on that and say, man, I kind of wish I would have listened to that guy back then? Well, the same thing's going to happen. If you don't listen to what I'm saying about the reality of subversive units, about the reality of your rights and how they guarantee you the opportunity to be the best that you can be and protection under law, the fact that there is no equality, there is no equal. You are who you are, and you're either competitive or you become competitive or you're not competitive. That's the way it goes in the fair world, in the real world. It's not the fair world, in the real world. In the fair world, it's you need a fair chance. Let's give Colin Kaepernick a fair chance. He's trying to sue the NFL. Let's make sure because he's really talented, he should be in here. Bull crap. Just like the Dixie Chicks went off the charts, not up the charts. They went off the charts when they opened their mouth overseas and badmouthed our president. Love him or hate him. America in the country music world didn't stand for that, and they crashed and burned. Colin Kaepernick made his own bed, and now he's having to lie in it because he runs with a subversive, Marxist, communist, globalist group of people. Period. Now, as far as the national anthem goes, different people have different takes on the national anthem. I know John Legend, it was Usher, said that it's he's a legend in his own mind, that guy, that he sings it better than anybody, that it's not a great song, whatever. Listen, fool, if you don't like it, don't sing it. All right? I personally think it's probably one of the greatest songs I've ever heard in my life. I think I've played this for you guys before. I'm going to play a version of it. I'm going to show you how great this song actually is, okay, and how simply it can be sung. I'll play that towards the end of the show. I got to find it. I want to make a little transition here because this kind of goes right along with this. I don't have the exact quote today. I couldn't find it. Let me see if I can. Let me do it on this computer. Mitch McConnell said today I want to get the exact quote because come on now.